Jai Sitaram. Ayodhya Ch, chapter 19. In the previous section, we saw how Rama very easily agrees to go off to the forest. He says, Evam Astu, that he will definitely go. The only thing that he's sad about is the fact that the king himself did not tell him that Bharata has to become the king and Rama has to go off to the forest. So Rama once again avers that he is going to go to the forest dressed as a recluse. He also asks Kaikeyi to ensure that fleet-footed horses carry swift messengers to the kingdom of Kaikeyi so that they can bring Bharata back to Ayodhya. And he says that he is going to go off into the forest for 14 years. Valmiki Muni says that listening to these noble words of Lord Rama, Dasaratha is shedding hot tears and they are wetting the earth. Now let us see how Kaikeyi responds to these words. Verse 12. Sa hrishta tasya tat vakyam shrutva ramasya Kaikeyi prasthanam shraddhana hi Tvarayam asaraghavam. Kaikeyi knew full well that Rama never went back upon his word. He was as good as gone to Dandaka. Her heart rejoiced greatly, and she did her best to hurry him on. So, Valmiki says that Kaikeyi knew that Rama will not go back on his word. So Rama is certain to depart. However, she's trying to hasten that process. Tvarayamasa means trying to hasten. So it's not just enough for her that Rama has to go to the forest. For her, Rama has to go immediately to the forest. Immediately, the Lord has to get away from her sight. Immediate. That's why she's trying to hasten the process over here. Prasthanam means departure, and Valmiki says that she's trying to hasten his prasthanam or departure or exile to the forest. Once again, this is the effect of greed. When a person is greedy, he or she does not recognize the fact that he or she is asking the Supreme Lord to get away from their own sight. This is the effect of greed. A person can never be happy when Rama is not the central focus of the life. There might be some moments of momentarily temporary material happiness, but that is not going to lead to permanent happiness. And we are going to work on this particular philosophy on what is the meaning of happiness and sadness with respect to Ayodhyavasi's emotions in a couple of chapters when the Lord departs to the forest. But at least for now, we have to remember that Kaikeyi's expression of joy in knowing that Rama is to go to the forest is only marred by the fact that she wants to hasten his departure. Verse 13. Evam bhavatu yasyanti dutaha shigra javai hayai bharatam matula kulat upavartayitum naraha. She said, "You are ever right. Let messengers hasten on fleet-footed horses even now to bring back Bharata from his uncle's capital." Verse 14. Tavatu aham kshamam manye na utsukasya vilambanam Rama tasmat itaha shigram vanam tvam gantum arhasi. But it does not befit you to delay here, and you are so eager to go to the forest. So do you well to hasten your departure to Dandakaranya. So Rama concluded his speech by saying that messengers ought to go to Kaikeyi's kingdom and bring Bharata back, and Rama will go off to the forest. And over here, Kaikeyi is asserting that yes, messengers have to go to Kaikeyi kingdom and bring back Bharata, but you are so eager. Utsakasya. Utsakasya means exceptionally enthusiastic. Kaikeyi says you are so eager to go to the forest, and vilambanam, that means delay. She says, no vilambanam, do not delay any further. So, shigram vanam tvam gantum arhasi. Shigram means exceptionally fast. Vanam means forest. Tvam means you. Gantum arhasi. You go immediately to the forest. Oh, greed is a terrible thing indeed. Verse 15. Vridananvitaha svayam yaccha nripaha tvam na abhibhashate na etat kinchin narasreshtha manyur eshu apaniyatam. It is but a sense of shame that prevents His Majesty from ordering you Himself. Let it not lie heavy upon your heart. Verse 16. Yavat tvam dem vanam yataha purat asmad abhitvaran pita tavan nate rama snasyate bhokshayate apiva. I know full well that he bathes not nor breaks his fast unless he sees you depart for the woods. How cruel are her words! She knows how much Dasaratha loves Rama and how much Rama loves Dasaratha. It was plain in that speech that Rama didn't care an iota about the fact that he is supposed to go off to the forest on the day he was supposed to be the king of this entire world. And the only thing that he regretted was the fact that his father was not happy to see him, that his father is not speaking to him, his father is not smiling at him when he sees him as he used to do so before. And right now, Kaikeyi is saying, you should hasten and you should go off to the forest, because till you do that, your father is not going to bathe or have a meal. And this is an attempt to ensure that Rama goes off to the forest as quickly as possible. So it was not enough for her to know that Rama is definitely going to go off to the forest. She wants him to go immediately, and then she does an emotional blackmail by stating that the person whom Rama loves a lot, that is King Dasaratha, is not going to eat till Rama goes off to the forest. Emotional blackmail. That's what Kaikeyi is trying to do over here. Verse 17. Dhik kashtam ihi nishvasya raja shoka pariplutaha murchitaha nyapatat tasmin paryanke hema bhushite. Dasaratha was shocked beyond conception at these cruel words and crying, Alas, what a horrible iniquity! What have I done that my ear should be polluted with such foul accusations? He fell in a dead faint on his bed of gold. Dhik, what a pity! Kashtam, such misery! And shoka pariplutaha, he was overwhelmed with sorrow. And murchitaha, that means fainted. And nyapatat means he fell. He fainted, he fell on his couch. Paryanke means couch. And hema bhushite, that was adorned with gold. The king was not able to even comprehend how a person can be so cruel to Lord Rama. Verse 18. Ramaha api utthapya rajanam Kaikeya abhiprachoditaha kashaya iva ahataha vaji vanam gantum kritatvaraha. Rama sprang to his side and caught him in his arms, while the cruel words of Kaikeyi lashed him like a spirited steed to hasten his departure to the forest. So the horse is already moving, and yet the charioteer is trying to whip him to make him move faster. So this is the analogy given by Valmiki over here. Rama is willing to go, but then Kaikeyi is goading him into moving faster, going immediately. It should be this instant. Verse 19. Tat apriyam anaryaya vachanam daruna udaram shrutva gatavyatho Ramah Kaikeyim vakyam abravit. But the slightest shadow of grief never dimmed the bright serenity of Rama, even as he heard the vulgar woman's cruel words. So Kaikeyi is trying to goad Rama over and over again, but Rama is completely unruffled. There is no difference in his behavior. Gatavyataha means he's completely unruffled. There is not a shadow of sorrow that enters his mind at this moment. Verse 20. Na aham artha paraha devi lokam avastam utsahe vidhi mam rishabhis tulyam kevalam dharmam astitam. My dear queen, you do me but ill justice to think that my heart hankers after wealth, pomp, and power. Far be it from my thoughts to remain here to win the love and affection of the people and rule over them. My acts, my words, my thoughts center around one desire and only one, to fulfill my dharma. I pray you to lay to your heart well that the hollow joys of life have no power over me, and that I am as dispassionate as the sages that abide in the holy forests. Verse 21. Yad atra bhavatah kinchit shakyam kartum priyam maya pranan api parityajya sarvatha kritam evatat. I pray you remember carefully that I hold my life of value only so far as it serves to fulfill His Majesty's pleasure. Know I of any higher dharma than to wait on the pleasure of my Father and serve Him in thought, word, and deed? Verse 22. Nahi atah dharma charanam kinchit asti mahattaram yatha pitari shushrusha tasyava vachana kriya. There is not indeed anything of greater performance of duty than doing service to one's father or doing what he commands. Verse 23. Anuktaha api atra bhavata bhavatya vachanat aham vane vatsyami vijane varshani iha chaturdasha. It needs not the commands of His Majesty. A word from your good self, a hint, is more than enough to make the forests a joyful home for me during 14 years. So Rama says that his father's word is very important to him, and then his father does not even have to say it. If Kaikeyi says it, that is more than sufficient for him to go to the forest and reside there for 14 years. Verse 24. Na nunam mayi Kaikeyi kinchid asham sase gunam yad rajanam avochaha tvam mama ishvarantara sati. No one has a more unquestioned right than yourself to dispose of me in every way. I pride myself on being the chosen and privileged servant of Thy Majesty, yet I find that you have thought it fit to ask this trifle of my father. I am tempted to think that you allow not the possibility of my possessing such noble qualities as magnanimity and truth. Verse 25. Yavan mataram apriche sitam च अनुनयामि aham atah adya eva gamishyami dandakana mahatvanam. Bear with me a while till I take leave of my mother and console Sita. Verse 26. Bharataha palayed rajyam shushrushe cha pitur yatha तथा भवत्या कर्तव्यम सहि धर्मः सनातनः. I pray you look to the necessary arrangements about Bharata's succession to the crown and the due discharge of his filial duties towards our Lord. For it is the dharma sanctified by the immemorial usage of my ancestors of happy memory. So he says that he just needs some time to make sure that his mother and Sita are okay. Then after that, he is going to go off into the forest. And that too, this very day, he will go to the forest. He gives Kaikeyi that assurance. Now let us take a look at how Dasaratha behaves in the next section. Jai Sitaram.